All right, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Osor. Welcome back to our Plotcast series. I'm here again with my friend Otis,
Hey guys.
and we're doing the Orville episode 4, which is called If the Stars Should Appear. So, Otis, let me hand it over to you.
All right. So first off, great episode.
Yeah, I liked it, yeah.
Was a bit more serious than the previous three, even though the last one was already pretty serious. But I liked it.
I did have some issues with just the well, we'll talk about it later.
All right. Then before we get into it and do our normal progression through the story, some fun facts. The director of this episode is James Conway. It's another person who has some experience in the Star Trek universe. I think of the 90s Star Trek series. He directed for pretty much every series there, more than one episode.
The
So,
90s Star Trek series.
Next Gen, Voyager, Deep Space
Oh,
Nine,
okay.
Enterprise. It's a bit
All right.
difficult to figure out what they call it these days. It used to be New Trek, but New Trek is now the newest Trek.
Do we really want to include the newest Trek
Well, I don't know.
into?
I hear good things about Brave New Worlds, and I'm starting to like Lower Decks.
Okay, I haven't heard of those two.
Lower Decks is one of the two cartoon ones,
Oh,
and Brave New Worlds is the latest one. That's following Pike, but it's apparently also a bit more episodic. And so far, I've only heard good things, so it's something I'm gonna check at some point.
okay, cool.
So.
Well, good to know.
Well, I thought it's a fun thing. We've been following directors since last time, so I'm gonna
Yeah,
keep an eye
sure.
on this. Another thing I noticed upon a random recent rewatch of some Enterprise episodes, because I was bored and couldn't fall asleep, Seth MacFarlane actually has a single line cameo in the last season of Enterprise, one of the last episodes. So he
Oh,
himself has an appearance in Star Trek as well.
okay, cool. Then all those Star Trek fans who hate the Orville can now shut up, or
No, I just thought I was watching it and I hear the voice. I'm like, wait, what's that? Rewind. Oh, that's Seth MacFarlane. Just a side shot, real quick in the engineering room, but I thought it was fun.
okay, what was the one-liner?
I don't even remember. It was very basic. Trip,
Oh, okay,
the engineer
no
was
joke.
saying something and he gave a single line response. No, he was playing a professional engineer
Oh,
who got a single line of dialogue.
nice.
So yeah, for the series itself, I'm gonna rely on you a bit to walk through the scenes. It's been a couple of days for me, so I do tend to mix the order
Okay,
of things a bit, but I believe we start in the Orville with Bortus and Clyden, showing that there is logically still some strife in that relationship after previous events.
yes. And to confirm our theory, uh, it's very obvious in this scene that Bortus is kind of the top, as you would say it.
Yeah, he's the man of the
He's
relationship.
That's what it seems. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't really understand what Clyden was wanting to talk about still, but I guess it's still about the issue from last episode.
Yeah, I'm guessing that, and in general, the fact that Borges is clearly still angry, um,
Hmm.
but unwilling to talk about his emotions, and Clyde wants to talk about it, and is feeling a bit depressed because Borges is still angry. So I think that's a bit the general implication.
Yeah. Other than that, I didn't really do much
Mm.
with it.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's just a setup to go through just to show we haven't forgotten what happened, because that's
Yeah.
if there's one comment you can give on Star Trek, and then especially Voyager, is They don't really remember what
Stop hating on
happened.
Voyager.
Oh, I love Voyager, but I'm very aware of its faults.
Okay.
So the one thing is very clearly that across seasons there's character growth, but in season, yeah, there's not a. It happens every now and again, but most of the time events from one episode don't carry over to the next.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
here, at least from that relationship perspective, there's clearly some carryover. So I do like that.
Yeah.
So that's a bit what I got out of the scene. Loved the fact they were watching The Sound of Music. It's been ages since I've seen that movie, so it was nice to get
Is
a.
that that's not the Sound of
Is
Music?
that not The Sound of Music? What is it then?
Is it?
I'm pretty sure it was.
Oh, maybe
I
it's
was
like one of the
16, going on
daughters.
17. Yeah, I think the eldest daughter. It's been ages since I've seen the
Oh
movie,
yeah.
but I'm pretty sure it's.
It sounds like the Sound of Music, and I guess it is then. Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, it's been a while since I saw that.
yeah, it's been a while for me as well, but yeah, the music was familiar.
All right.
So yeah, that's a bit their opening. Bortus decides he wants to leave his room and go to shift early, just to avoid the discussion the client wants to have. And then
Mm-hmm.
everybody wants to talk about, because it's clearly implied this is not the first time. Everybody wants to talk about it. He does not want to talk about it at all.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's I think that's the point then that Isaac discovers
Yeah.
a large object in space.
Before they were leading up to it when um I thought a joke was incoming and it would be like a giant space dick.
Okay.
I guess I have come to expect something from Seth MacFarlane, but it wasn't. It was just a huge, huge, huge spaceship. Uh, Also, I thought, yeah, the dick joke
Oh yeah, the dick joke, yeah.
was kind of forced.
The only positive thing I can say about the dick joke is that it comes back later in the episode. And
Yeah,
I
but
like the
yeah,
callback. It's typical Seth MacFarlane style, but it worked in that scene better than in this scene. So yeah.
yeah, that's true.
No, but you're right. That was a bit forced. Probably why I didn't mention it because I had actually forgotten about it until you mentioned it.
Yeah. And then we have the intro, I guess, which I first noticed. It seemed longer than normal, but I like the music. It's pretty much the same as Star Trek, though.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, it sounds a bit Star Trekky, but a bit off. Visually, it's clearly it could be any one of the 90s Star Trek shows with the different space vistas we're seeing. But
hmm
yeah, I would agree it runs a bit long, but I feel that's true for every track except maybe Enterprise, because that's a song rather than a piece of music.
I
But
never skip intros.
oh, I don't skip them, but I can feel while I'm sitting there that they might take a bit longer than I was hoping.
Hmm. Yeah, well,
But
uh,
that's minor, eh? But no, you're right. It felt a bit longer, but I don't think it was. I think it's the same as every time.
yeah,
But yeah, we
okay,
get. I think this is then the point that they see the ship and that they decide they're gonna board it.
yeah,
So Bortus is left in command with Malloy and Lamar remaining on the ship as well, and Ed takes Kelly, Dr. Finn, Alara, and Isaac with him as the landing
yeah,
party. So,
indeed.
pretty good choice, I guess, for a landing party. Taking both the first officer and the captain down, always a good idea. We've only recently had the situation what happens when they're both unavailable.
I didn't realize you were sarcastic.
They
Yeah,
didn't learn much.
yeah. I guess they wanna have them, or I guess maybe Ed just loves her too much and
Hmm.
can't miss her for a second.
But yeah, we land. We get to a door where the keypad is busted, but
Yeah.
Isaac manages to get the door open.
Luckily, there's a handle.
Luckily, there's a handle. And then yeah, we get
No, it's
into.
Alara. Alara
Is it a
opens.
ladder? Ah, yeah,
Yeah,
you're right. You're right. Isaac opens a door later on.
open
Yeah.
this pickle jar for me. Uh, it says.
But yeah, they get onto the ship, and the ship looks like a planet. It's as though they've landed in a forest somewhere on Earth.
It doesn't seem true to scale because they said it's like the size of New York and
Hmm.
it seems bigger. But maybe I'm wrong. Uh,
I yeah, haven't been to New York, so I can't say, but I know New York.
well, it depends if they mean the city or the state, I guess.
Yeah, but even with the city, um, there's some there are multiple neighborhoods and things like that. So I
Yeah,
can't
that's true.
I can't speak for
Well,
it.
yeah.
It seemed pretty
Um,
big.
Pretty big for sure. I do wonder how they maintain it, but I guess or how
Recycling.
they even built this. I mean, what the hell? They didn't seem that advanced at the end if they can't even fix their engine. Um,
Yeah, yeah. But maybe, oh yeah, that's a good point. So the ship is adrift. They find traces of what was it, ionic radiation, that they believe disabled the engines. So they're there to help because in the end the ship is on an intercept course with a star.
yeah,
So if nothing is done, the ship is gonna go in the star. The weird thing to me a bit is that Isaac could find no life readings on board. So at first I was thinking, is this one of those episodes where everybody turns out to be a hologram? But that's actually not the case here.
yeah. It's just the hull is too thick, I
Hmm.
guess, or whatever.
Yeah, the sensors can't penetrate, but he does use the sensors then to see that there's a breathable atmosphere behind the door.
Oh yeah, I didn't.
I mean,
I
it's a
didn't
small
notice. Yeah.
thing, so I don't know if I would consider this a problem. It just confused me for a second.
Well, it's not a problem, but it's a mistake.
Yeah, but anyway, we're on the planet. The team splits up rather quickly.
And then discount data goes into full force, asking Ed all kinds of questions that data would ask. I mean, pretty much the same. Even his voice sounds the same.
Yeah, but Isaac is on the Orville to learn about the Union, so would make sense that everything that doesn't make sense to him, he asks for clarification.
Yeah, I just had a very
Data
data
vibe, yeah,
vibe. Yeah,
there's very much a data vibe with Isaac so far.
yeah. Uh, Even like it was kind of like a joke, and
Hmm.
that joke would also happen in Star Trek Next Generation.
Yeah, yeah,
It was pretty much the same.
yeah, but the comical misconception. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Does work. It broke tension, but I feel overall the episode for what's coming and what it's dealing with, it does take a more relaxed pace than the previous episodes. We mentioned it before, sometimes pacing seems off. This one
Mm-hmm.
takes its time to really explore a bit further. It's also the first episode so far where the focus is not really on one or two characters, but it's on the entire away party.
Yeah.
Less on the Orville, though they do get their own moments. Um,
Well, at first I thought it was going to be an Isaac episode because
mhm,
he kind of wanted to come so badly,
mhm.
but I guess it wasn't.
Yeah, it's a bit, but I do like the fact that it doesn't take control of the entire episode. It works the way it does.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I can see why you would think at first we're going that route, because you know it does set it up a bit at the start.
Yeah.
But yeah, we split up, so Katara and Kelly go one way, and Ed, Dr. Finn, and Isaac go another.
Mm-hmm.
So Kelly and Katara Are walking along the field talking about the fact that Katara come.
Lara.
Sorry, you're so right.
Am I correcting you on names now?
Yeah, it's Alara Katan, and I keep messing up today. It's not my day today. You're correcting me. You're right. No, but you're right. Alara and Kelly. Probably Kelly. Yeah, that's probably where I went wrong. Katara is. What is Katara from? Is that Avatar: The Last Airbender? Never mind.
I don't know.
Anyway, so they're walking along the fields and have an encounter with a squad of squads.
No, it's first the other party who encounter a house.
Okay. All right. So the other party is walking down the forest. You see, it's been a few days. So they
No
walk
problem.
they walk down the forest and indeed see a house.
Mm-hmm.
Where they go inside and it's a mother and a son.
Try to go inside.
They try to go inside. Indeed, they stun the father, who's very aggressive.
And I was like, my mind was screaming when they approached the house, Prime Directive, Prime Directive, Prime Directive, which was my issue. I don't know if there's a Prime Directive in the Union or anything like that, but that was kind of my issue with the whole episode. Even though it's a spaceship, I
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, but I think that's the main point. So I would say we don't have an indication that there's a firm prime directive yet. Though with the episode with the space zoo, they did set up that they need to respect boundaries of other cultures and things like that. So there's
hmm
something there similar, but it hasn't been clarified yet. But I would say in this case, when you're talking spaceship adrift and on an intercept
Yeah,
course
but
with a
they have
star.
6 months. They have 6 months before it would collide with the star. So a little bit more of exploration before actually speaking to anyone might have been prudent.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna disagree, but I think in general, I didn't really have a problem with it. I just thought they should have done a bit of recon, but in the end, we're looking at the recon. But maybe this is why it's a bad idea to send pretty much your entire command stuff down for the first encounter.
Yeah, that that too, but I mean they didn't even see or observe anyone
Mm-hmm.
before actually talking to them, so that seems a mistake to me.
Yeah, yeah.
They could have they could have definitely found out that they didn't know about the ship
Mm-hmm.
before they talked to anyone.
Yeah, but to be fair, I don't think it's something you would expect.
I mean, if you see a house like that, if you see a house like that, I I mean, I think you should expect it.
They
Or
might be big fans of Renaissance fairs.
no, no, I think I mean, I don't know if there's a prime directive, but if there is, it feels like this would be a mistake.
All right. But anyway, yeah, we have the talk there where we discover indeed these people have absolutely no knowledge that they are on a spaceship, but the kid can get them to the reformers, who are the people of this race, and they're all spotty on their heads. It's a bit like the
Yeah.
trill with the spots down the sides. But
hmm
the kid knows members of the reformers or is a reformer, and he's gonna take Ed and crew to them in order to do the big reveal that they're on a spaceship and that they're right, and that this dictatorship that they're under is lying to them, which they already suspect quite heavily.
Yeah. But first we have the Kelly Alara
Yeah,
scene.
so before we meet up with the reformers, we get our Kelly and Alara scene
And
where.
again, here in this scene, it seemed very obvious to me that either Kelly watched a lot of Riker, a lot of Riker,
uh
or she's just naturally almost exactly like him.
or
Uh,
yeah, or Seth wrote the part like that.
just the way she talks and
Mm.
like, uh, I mean, presents herself.
Mm.
It's
Yeah, I'm
pretty
seeing it
much
a
Riker.
bit since you mentioned it before. I did pay attention to it. I see it a bit, maybe not as strong as you're making the connections, but I can kind of see.
Even like the shape of her head is like Riker. I can't unsee it.
Okay. All right. Really don't know what
And
to
like
say to that.
her smile is also like Riker.
All right. I'll have to rewatch Next Gen at some point again just to see if I can make the same connection.
Yeah.
I don't immediately, but yeah, what isn't can always be. Um, but anyway, so Alara and Kelly are walking. They're talking about the fact that, weirdly enough, Alara can't get a man because they're all
It,
intimidated by her strength,
yeah.
which is a bit weird. But hey,
One more thing.
okay.
It seems not a good idea to walk in the middle of a road in a totally unknown territory.
But a road will lead you to civilization.
Yeah, okay, but you could walk to a little bit to the side of the road
Yeah, but I think,
because,
yeah, but where they're walking, they have perfect view ahead and behind, so it's not like something can sneak up on them on the road, eh?
but that did happen. It did happen.
Yeah, but that's just weird. That I didn't understand because I was like, you should have seen this armored van with two weird dudes driving up to you.
I mean, if it was not a spaceship,
Hmm.
I would maybe understand a little bit that you're kind of letting go, but in this situation with this mystery and stuff, I feel like they should be careful, more
Hmm.
careful. Uh, but yeah, whatever.
But yeah, so creepy van stops. Two guys get out. They're very aggressive. They're armed. They wear military uniforms, or at least military-like uniforms, and they demand to see their identification. Now, of course, Lara and Kali don't have identification for this planet. They try some jokes, doesn't work. They try to calm them down, doesn't work. Alara takes a step forward and takes 3 shots to the chest and rolls
Yeah,
down the
I
hill.
mean, what was she thinking? I mean, it's so stupid.
I think she was thinking I need to close
The
the
distance,
distance
okay,
because close range I'm the baddest badass here.
yeah, but she could just wait until they get her into custody and then destroy whatever they use to hold her, or, I mean,
Hmm. But
no.
yeah,
Alara is stupid, okay?
I think in general they didn't want to be taken into custody. Full stop. Because they didn't understand what was going on. I think that's the moment that for Kelly and Alara the light turned on of things are very weird here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know. But yeah, Alara rolls down the hill. Kelly gets knocked out quite brutally and dragged away.
I
And
hope
then
Ed thinks twice about his division in parties next time. Alara means get someone smart with her as well.
so you're saying Kelly's an idiot.
She didn't act very smart in this encounter, at least. I'm
She,
not willing to judge it that far yet, but
well, she was a bit snappy this time. Um,
mm,
but yeah, so we cut back to Ed and Dr. Finn and Isaac meeting up with the reformers, where we get a bit of the background dump. So they're all worshipping this guy named Doral. Doral,
Dural,
yeah,
Dural, I think, or
yeah.
something. Yeah,
Sometimes I've heard it so many times, but I keep blanking on the correct pronunciation. But they meet, and that's a bit where it's then established. Okay, this is a religious dictatorship. Anyone who dares speak against the current interpretation of the word of Doral gets punished quite severely. We at this point we don't know yet how severely, though we can draw a mental picture already. Um, and the only other real thing of note here is they want to show them something, but that's when we get interrupted.
Yeah, by USS plot device being under attack.
Um, is this already where the Orville,
Yeah,
no, where the Orville gets the message, or do we first get the scene where Alara calls Ed
no,
to
no,
say, okay,
no, no.
okay, so indeed we go to the Orville and we hear that there's a distress signal of another ship, a freighter of some kind, I believe, and they're under attack by the Krill. So the bad guys from episode one do make a
Yeah,
return. The Krill are attacking one of the Union ships. Union ships are not armed because they're not military vessels. At least this one isn't. So the Orville goes and helps, and it's a convenient way to get the Orville out so that the boarding team doesn't have an easy solution.
yeah,
Basically, the episode doesn't really spend a lot of time on this, so let's just move on.
yeah, yeah.
So I think then we're back at the barn where we meet up with the reformers. Some more information. Um, a bit. I don't know what you thought of the food scene. I'm not a fan of the food scene.
I actually connected very well with Ed Mercer at this point because I'm also um, I have a hard time with tasting new food or food. Well, he doesn't have a hard time with tasting it because he just put it in his mouth. I would have already noped out of at that point, um, or at least smelled it. So it for me it was like a bonding experience.
Yeah, so Ed is indeed a bit of a picky eater, though again, we don't know what the food is. It might just not be.
Also, he's the only one who got food.
No, I think Dr. Flynn also got food. She just didn't touch it
Oh,
because she probably did smell it first.
no, he's the only one.
Is he the only one? Okay, I
Yeah,
thought she also had a plate in front of
maybe.
her.
I guess if they're reforming so much, they're pretty poor.
But yeah, there's just this entire scene where he tries to elegantly get rid of the food by while remaining polite, and it's neither elegant nor polite, which makes it a bit funny. But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't the biggest fan. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, this joke I appreciate.
But yeah, we get interrupted because guys say we want to show you something, but we get interrupted by Alara having a distress call to Ed to let him know she was shot and Kelly's not there.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we then immediately already cut to them finding Alara or if there's something in
No.
between.
First we have the scene with the I guess the dictator guy. I forgot his name.
Yes, yes, indeed. Kelly arrives in the van. They take her out, and we see the religious bad guy, Knepper, who most known probably from from Prison Break as the child molester.
I mean, I recognize the actor, but I've never seen Prison Break. I've seen him, I guess, in a few other.
Yeah, he's been in a couple of things, but that's probably the thing people know him most of, I think. It
Yeah,
might
well,
be.
probably Prison Break is very pretty popular.
Uh
Oh,
He always plays a bit. In everything I've seen him, he always plays a bit the weirdo.
he has that kind of face. Yeah.
Yeah, and the kind of the thing he can do with his voice to make it all smarmy and such. He's a very good villain.
Yeah.
He's um, he's good at that. But yeah, I forget the character's name as well. But that's Knapper. Um, but yeah, he's speeching and talking, really riling up a mob that's in front of the building, and then they bring out a reformer, and basically he got the crowd that worked up that when they throw the guy into the crowd, they just beat him to death. So
Yeah.
it's mob justice, basically a lynching without the hanging part.
Yeah.
Um, Pretty brutal. And it
Mm-hmm.
really sets the tone of the kind of society they're living in, even more than the discussion with the reformers. This really set the tone of, okay, this is where we're going, and I did like it. Well, I like it is maybe the wrong kind of description, but it worked very well. Um,
Yeah, it was necessary to
mhm,
have the next scene or every other scene
mhm.
after that to
Yeah,
establish that he's a bad guy. That's pretty much it.
and then he looks over the crowd finally and sees his two henchmen and Kelly. So he does a sign that they have to take her into the back, and I think that's the point then that we cut to Alara and the crew.
No, no, they have a small conversation first about the gun, and then he
Is that here
asks,
already? Okay, I thought
yeah,
that was next. So we cut basically from bring her into the back to in his office then. All
and
right.
then he asks, where are your friends? Yeah. All right, and then we have the scene with Alara where they find her and they show the magic devices, according to the kid at least.
Yeah, to be
Uh,
fair, it's a bit magic. She calls it medical science. I'm kind of looking. Yeah, it's a bit magic.
it's
You,
still magic for us.
you have a device that uses probably a tractor beam to pull out a bullet without damaging more, I
Yeah, well,
assume.
you could say it's kind of magnetic.
Yeah, but it needs to be a magnetic metal. That's a different discussion. But anyway, and then she
Mm,
uses another device that would quicken the plasma regeneration.
yeah.
And the funny thing is, the wounds are closed, and she immediately wakes up. Immediately.
Yeah, that's also very unrealistic. They should have had a device that pours a few liters of blood into her
Yeah,
veins.
I was also thinking, like, what about the blood loss? And second is, can't we just put something in her to wake her up, or use some smelling salt or something to get her to wake up? I know it's definitely not the only show in the cinema as well where someone wakes up out of the blue when immediately when they had some first aid, but yeah, to me it was a bit like I wouldn't have minded a third magic device to wake her up.
Yeah, well, for me, it wasn't really the waking up part. It was more like standing up part and, being ready for battle immediately. So,
Here I had less of. It's a good point there, but here I had less of a problem with it. I have a bigger problem with it later in the episode, but we'll get to it.
hmm
But here you
yeah,
are.
already forgot it by a bit later, but
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
But yeah,
And
so
then, and then Isaac notices that, oh, he gets the direction from Ed to get back up.
Mhm.
Then he notices the ship is gone.
Yeah, so before the ship left, they left a buoy with a message so that if the party tried to reach the Orville while they were still away, they would know what's happening.
hmm
And then, of course, Isaac informs Ed, and they realize, okay, we're on our own for now.
Yeah. And then you have a little battle scene between Orville and the Krill ship,
Yeah.
and we have Lamar getting his shining moment. I really do hope Lamar gets his episode soon because yeah, every scene he does, I like. I mean, every little
hmm
scene where he's central or at least a side character, I like. So I hope his episode is coming up. He's a funny character. I mean, it really works for me what he
Yeah,
does.
that was fun. He's all psyched because his plan to defeat the enemy worked,
hmm
and and I do like the way they're establishing him and Malloy, their interactions. They play well off of each other.
Yeah, they're
Um,
kind of like what was his name? Jordi and Data. They also had a lot of scenes together.
mhm.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, good point. Indeed, we're clearly establishing some working relations, so that's good. So I do agree we should get some focus I would say on them soon because so
I'm
far.
not.
Hmm?
Malloy seems a bit cynical, too cynical for me.
Well,
But
he's a bit he's often the butt of the jokes in the episodes, so I want to see some focus on him just for that, so that he becomes more than what we've seen so far.
mhm.
So he doesn't end up, a bit like Anson Mayweather, unknown and unloved.
Yeah, Anson Mayweather. What?
Enterprise.
Okay, yeah, I should watch that.
You should, but
Apparently.
it's a character you won't remember because he doesn't do a lot.
Okay.
But yeah, but
Then
anyway,
yeah, then we have the scene where
wait,
yeah, they're
before we
torturing.
proceed, maybe one more thing about the scene is, the Orville also got damaged, of course, in the fight, and it's gonna take them an hour before they're ready to go underway. So it took them 20 minutes to get to the ship in need. They had an unknown amount of time for battle, and it's another hour that they're gonna be away. So it does help establish how long our crew is on the ship, and from that perspective, I have to say everything they're doing in this episode goes very quickly.
Yeah, they're traveling very quickly, I
Hmm.
guess, without a car. Yeah. Um, but then we have the scene where Kelly gets tortured. I really do hope her name is Kelly because I'm just saying Kelly because you
She is
said
Kelly.
Kelly.
Yeah, no, she's
Okay.
Kelly. For sure, she's Kelly. I think her
Uh,
last name she shares with the dead police woman from Arcane, Grayson. That's how I
oh,
remember that one. They're both Grayson. But
okay.
she's Kelly because Ed says Kelly like 100 times in this episode. Where's Kelly? Is Kelly okay? Where's
Yeah, yeah,
Kelly? So
yeah. He's in love.
I'm sure that I made one mistake. You're gonna hold this over me forever that I made one mistake. But I made one mistake. I'm sure
Okay.
about Kelly.
All right. So she's very much like Riker in this scene as well, kind of bad mouthing the villain here and challenging him, even though he's clearly in control.
It also reminded me a little bit of the episode in Next Gen where Picard is tortured by the now I'm
Yeah,
blanking.
yeah, I don't remember, but I think I know what you mean.
Four lights, five lights. It's a bit a similar kind of play here. Of course, shortened because there we had an entire episode, Cardassians. When he was captured by the Cardassians, there we had an entire episode just about that. Here there's a lot more going on, but I did get some vibes there, maybe just because she's also being tortured.
Yeah,
They think it was special, so they keep hitting her, and she keeps making jokes.
yeah,
There's a reference to Friends in there. So
yeah,
apparently for the next couple of centuries, Friends will stick around.
yeah,
There's
as expected.
as expected. There's a joke in there, a Yo Mama joke. There's a couple of ways in there that she's trying to get her
Yeah,
torturers angry.
yeah. And then we have the scene where Ed and the band try to get in. They've also changed clothes in the meantime. Yeah, I didn't really notice, but I guess they are doing a lot of things in a very
Yeah,
short
in a
amount of
short
time.
amount of time. I wouldn't have minded if they said it's going to take us 5 hours to repair the engines or whatever was broken. And if they said it's
Hmm.
going to take us an hour.
I guess it's kind of a recurring thing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so yeah, it might be something they need to work on a little bit
Mm-hmm.
with the pacing.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is less pacing. This is just just allowing for more fictional time to have passed. I wouldn't mind
Yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah. I guess I don't know the
Yeah,
terms.
no worries. But yeah, we indeed. I did like the fact that Alara's again wearing the headband thing to hide her weird markings, which she wasn't wearing before. But
Oh,
a bit similar
no.
to Spock in my favorite Star Trek movie ever, The Voyage Home, where he's also wearing a
Yeah,
headband to hide his ears in that case. But she's wearing that thing again, and then Ed has a clever ploy to get inside.
yeah.
The
He does
old,
those kinds of things very
mm,
well.
the old, you're an old friend I know. And then when he's close enough, a quick stun shot
Yeah,
and go inside.
yeah. Bit strange the door isn't closed at all, but whatever.
It's a public building.
Um,
It's why they put a
uh,
guard in front of it.
I guess, yeah, you're right. And then we cut to Kelly again. They inject her with a very clever torture poison, not poison, fluid.
Yeah, I think you can call it a poison. It inflames all of her nerve endings, so she's in constant pain. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'd call that a poison. Because I do think she would have died in the end, um, just from your mind breaking. That's a kind of death. That's an ego death. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
a poison. But yeah, she indeed gets an injection, and then our bad guy starts uh, showing he has the antidote, and he just
yeah,
wants her to tell him what he wants to hear, not the truth, as she's been saying all along, in between the jokes.
yeah. And then the rest of the party break in. They're still bringing this kid for some reason, even though it's way too dangerous for him. But okay,
Without the kid, they wouldn't have found it. But I
that's
agree, the
true.
kid shouldn't have come inside. But on the other hand, if he was outside, he might have been captured, and then they would have had to save him as well.
That's
So
true. Okay.
there's no.
Uh,
I think it's making the best out of a bad situation.
yeah, I guess his mom will be very mad at them, though. They better not come back to that house. Um,
But yeah, we indeed. Elara breaks the door, showcasing her strength again, and two quick stun shots to the two goons, so that only our main bad guy, Knapper, remains standing. And yeah,
and then Alara picks him up by the
by the
throat,
throat. Cool
and
scene.
then our medical professional just injects her with a random
Yes.
fluid.
Yes, he's like this is it. You need to give her this, and the doctor doesn't even scan the compound she's injecting. And I was sitting there like, what the heck are you doing? That's not healthy. That's not good doctor practice. She's lucky it was the actual antidote.
Yeah.
And immediately, the injection is
Yeah,
there. We know all of her
no.
nerve endings are being tortured, but immediately the pain is gone.
Well, oh yeah, I guess, but I can forgive that, but yeah, that was really stupid to me.
Yeah, yeah. And that was okay, fine. Maybe there's painkiller in there or something. But yeah, Ed gives the same story as Callie was giving. Your ship is adrift in space. You're gonna die because you're on a collision course with a star. He doesn't want to believe. Then we get the villain explaining his rationale, which
Mm-hmm.
to me was a bit. The implications are all there, that our bad guy actually is aware there's more going on, and there is indeed this fear of him losing power. Some of the points he's raising of our society would collapse into anarchy. Kind of true. The way that society is
Yeah,
now, the truth will indeed cause an upheaval. Luckily, the reformers are there, so there's at least something there to take the place, but still, that's going to be quite a challenge. But
there will be a lot of riots.
yeah, but here in the dialogue, they're really explaining everything, so everybody understands what the message is. And I was a bit like, for me, it wasn't. Some detail is always nice, but you didn't have to explain your plot to me at this point. By now, I'm along for the ride. I understand what's going on. I can see what you're doing.
Oh, I didn't mind.
Well, mind is
Um,
a big word, but
I
I was a
wanted to
bit.
know how much he actually knew
Mm,
exactly. So,
yeah. So Ed realizes this guy is not someone we can talk to, and he stuns him. And they
yeah.
save Kelly. And this is then the point I was annoyed: is she stands up and immediately great posture, normal walking speed out, no sign of even having been hurt. And even
Mm-hmm.
if this compound is now working, and even if the nerve poison didn't do actual damage, only caused pain, she still got hit in the face multiple times. She should be a bit groggy. She should be a
Yeah.
bit hurting, but she's a-okay.
Yeah. You mentioned a couple of those, also with Arcane. I
Yeah.
guess I never really care.
I think it's a pet peeve of mine is if you're hurt, if you've ever been hurt in your life ever, you realize that that doesn't go away in a second. Or
Yeah.
you weren't really hurt, you're just being all dramatic.
Yeah.
So to me that's
Okay.
my pet peeve in all of cinema is something how quickly it's why I love Die Hard so much. Bruce Willis's character gets hurt a lot, and throughout the movie, that sticks with him. He's all beat
Yeah.
up at the end,
Yeah.
and now I'm miss. I mean, I'm not a fan of torture porn or anything like that, but I wouldn't mind if a character's hurt that they showed they were hurt, especially here because the messages there's a couple of messages in here, but one of them is around torture and that they were going to keep torturing you until you say what they want to hear, not necessarily what the truth is. And I think it would work a lot better if there was that consequence of she's still smarting after
Yeah.
getting cut loose.
Yeah. I think I have more trouble with, or
Mm,
and I guess it happens with me also more than with you, is
mm.
they just left the main villain there to wake up and organize some kind of huge army. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I agree, but we don't know how long the stun setting works on these
Yeah,
guys.
but even so, at least tie him up or or put him
Yeah,
in kind of, I mean, just
yeah,
lock him up or something.
yeah, fair, fair. Yeah, but yeah, they don't.
No. So then we fast travel to the mountains,
Yeah, to the
and
door they wanted to show them. There we see the keypad, and this one is working, so Isaac can split open his fingers and hack the device.
yeah.
And then we have an elevator scene. We learn Ed is awkward in elevators, so no clever Mass Effect elevator conversation there, just a bit of awkwardness.
Mm-hmm.
And we arrive on the bridge, and we see Captain Doran, their mythical figure.
Well, he is a mythical figure by now in real life as
Mm,
well, so
he
I
is.
guess it works.
So big reveal. Liam Neeson is in this episode for what a couple of phrases,
Mm-hmm.
but he's there and he's this legend Doral, and he explains the original intent was a 3 generation journey because they're in a bit of an isolated part of space, and they estimate the nearest potential civilization to be at a certain point, and they're gonna take this ginormous ship there to make first contact.
Remind me, uh, did the Krill speak English? I don't think so, right?
They have their own language because it
Yeah.
was subtitled.
Yeah, so this keeps, I mean, this is the last time I will talk about this, but everyone speaks English.
Hmm. Yeah, and we.
Even though they've been 2000 years closed off from everything else, they still
Mhm.
speak perfect English. So yeah, but I guess I can forgive it, but then they should have also made the Krill speak English and just not addressed at all.
Yeah, but I think. Yeah, no, it's a good point. I think the difference is when we saw subtitles for the Krill, the Union was not there. So it was Krill to Krill without a Union person there to be our interpreter. Because every
Yeah.
time someone is talking when the union is there, we hear it in English, I believe. I'd have to
Yeah,
read what the
okay.
previous. So what I'm getting to is probably it's the unexplained universal translator.
Okay,
But as far as I know, they
mm,
haven't mentioned that they have a universal
then they
translator
should,
yet.
and they should,
So they
and then
should
it's fine.
indeed raise it at some point. Again, watch Enterprise, you see the origin of the Star Trek universal translator there. Hoshisato developed it further.
Yeah.
There's some,
Okay.
I think there's some, from this perspective, if this bothers you a bit, I think Enterprise does have something to offer to you. I'm not gonna say it's a
Yeah.
perfect show, far from it, but there's some good stuff in there.
Okay.
But yeah, indeed, that was also something that I was thinking, and I was like, well, probably Universal Translator. I'm fine. But yeah, it's the original intent was 3 generations, but in the end, they've been out there for 2,000 years because indeed an iron storm disabled their engines and they couldn't fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think really we're getting very close to end, so we have the surprise of our two aliens on seeing space for the first time because in their biome they always see daytime sky, a
Mm-hmm.
projection, but so they see space for the very first time.
And
Uh,
then I'm pretty much convinced now that Ed Mercer is actually a Krill agent of chaos that has taken his form.
okay.
Because, okay, let me just push this button that will make it night and
Yeah.
make everything in burst into riots.
Yeah, but we know the Union has a thing with skylights because as you mentioned in the very first episode, hey, the Orville has a skylight. And
Yeah,
this, what is this dome that he opens up other than a gigantic skylight?
yeah, sure, but
So
still
yeah,
not very well thought over to just let it happen.
especially
Uh,
because the Union because they ask him, what are we gonna do next? And he's like, it's up to you. We'll call for the Union to send some specialists over who can teach you how to maintain and run your ship. So they're gonna help them out and repair, and then leave it up
yeah.
to the aliens to decide themselves.
Maybe you should also call some specialists to teach him about how to transition a society uh, quietly and in a calm way from one place to another.
Well, maybe that's a course like law. It's one he just didn't take because it was optional rather than mandatory.
That could be.
Hmm. Yeah, I get a feeling the Union isn't all that great at first contact. That's a bit
Yeah,
the implication I've been getting over 4 episodes.
yeah,
But yeah, that's a bit also where we're ending it, more or
yeah.
less.
To me,
Uh,
it ended a bit too early again.
yeah.
But I hope they come back to this civilization because now, the moment they kind of made it night and whatever, I was really interested what was
Mm.
going to happen.
Happen next, yeah. Yeah, I'd be interested to revisit either this ship or this people. Would also be interested to see other iterations of this people. Maybe they have other ships
Yeah,
going around and things like that. So I agree there. It would be interesting to see more of this and to at least get a throwaway line at some point about the mega ship exploding because of a civil war or
yeah, that would
something.
be cool.
Or
Yeah,
just a
some
kid
retard,
showing up somewhere in a union uniform saying, "Oh, I decided to join you for showing us the truth and the way." Even that, I mean, something.
like a conversation with an admiral where the admiral is like, "Yeah, I don't remember, but some retard made it night, and then every all hell broke loose."
Yeah, or otherwise, maybe just in season 3, we see one of those aliens walking around as a crewman without any further attention, but just a reflection of, oh, they're fine. That would also be
Yeah.
good. But something, I agree. I wouldn't mind a follow. It's a bit the same like what we said after the Moklon
Hmm.
planet Moklus, I believe. Is like, yeah, we wouldn't mind seeing a bit more of this society later on.
Yeah, but I guess if they think about it, then they are leaving it open-ended on purpose,
Hmm.
just so they can have more episodes.
Yeah, leave few story hooks open. Yeah. Yeah, overall, still, despite the fact we really harped on minor details, I think it's because overall the episode is very good and you really should just watch it because it's very well done, well played, well filmed,
Hmm.
cool look. I think overall this is very much a recommend from my side.
Yeah.
That said, a few things about the episode. So I already mentioned it. It had me thinking a bit about about that episode where Picard is getting tortured. The episode this is reminds me the most of classic Trek is the one from the original series, For the world is hollow and I have touched the sky. I looked up the title, but I do like the title. So that's the one where um, the main trio gets into an asteroid. That asteroid is on a collision course with a Federation planet. It's also where McCoy only recently learned he only has a year to live. He has some kind of a disease,
Mm-hmm.
and he falls in love with a woman there. But this society is also very religious. Is a dictatorship. If anyone um, starts thinking differently than the party line and tries to think the world is bigger than we know, they also get tortured, in that case by an implanted device rather than a mob, but they get tortured. Similar reveal as well. They
Yeah.
convince someone of the truth. In the end, they manage to
I
save
guess
them.
I should rewatch some Star Trek series
Uh,
before we do season 2 of the Orville because I'm missing a lot of references.
Yeah, for me that's a big one. Now I've heard some people talking, oh, you shouldn't refer to that because the actual, the concept is older, which is true. But I think considering you see very clearly the data influence in this episode, and I already had that torture episode reflection, I don't think it's a big jump to think that Seth MacFarlane, a self-proclaimed Star Trek fan, and I do believe him, kind of got some inspiration out of other Star Trek when he wrote this episode. It's sufficiently
Yeah, of
different that
course.
it stands on its own. It's a very well done episode, and Star Trek itself isn't afraid of redoing something they've already done.
Yeah.
But it did
Yeah,
remind me
I
of
don't
it.
mind it at all.
No, I didn't mind it, but it was very. It's also a very good one. So if you have to pick from other Star Trek, at least he's picking from the good ones rather than the bad ones.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
gonna have
that's
to because I wanted to input like a joke about the one episode where Picard is captured and then or he has to speak like or he has to learn another language. Um,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and he's like shouting from one side of the mountain to another side or something.
So that's with the alien race that only speaks in metaphor, and that's a very good episode the first time you watch it because the episode itself is teaching you the metaphor language. So by the end, when Picard comes on the bridge and de-escalates the situation, even though he's using their metaphors, you understand what he's saying. But that's
Yeah,
indeed, it's not really. It is another language and it isn't, because also there the universal translator is working. It's just that the translation itself, without context, makes absolutely no sense.
yeah.
That's also very strong. I didn't see an influence of that in here though.
No, no, I guess they won't touch the language subject much, but who
Or
knows?
maybe later on, we don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, we're still only at episode 4 and we're talking a third season already, so there's a
Yeah,
lot to mine.
that's true. Okay, but I guess yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about it.
No, I think from my side we're good. This was a very good episode. Good cast, good guest actors, well directed, well written. Overall, just a highly recommended episode.
Let's say it's decently written,
Okay.
like with as you said with the time and stuff, and a few plot devices here and there. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
but to be honest,
decent.
yeah, but it's Trek, so that's a bit par for the course. You're along for the ride.
Yeah, I guess.
So I don't know.
But that does not excuse it, in my opinion.
All right. That's that's you. You do you.
Yeah.
No, but
Well, if you don't have anything else
there
anymore,
is one more thing. It's not episode related, but before we close off, we have yet to raise it, guys. But again, subscribe, hit the bell button, like it, please. Keep us going. This channel needs to grow, and we want to continue discussing our favorite television shows.
Yes. Yeah, I was gonna say the same. So, and what Udi said, do it right now. Right now. Right now. Okay. But other than that, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching if you watched. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye
Take care,
bye.
you guys. Bye.